Okay, so I just, Laura, thanks very much for being here with me. The reason for this, you chose to join Incentive, and it was right at the beginning of what became, we didn't know it at the time, the lockdown. And you decided to start your own business, but what I think was interesting, you were sharing this with me the other day, and I'd just love to share it here if you could, please, because there will be plenty of other people who are in exactly the same position as you, and a lot of them will not make the same decisions as you did. So if you could please share what your position was and for what reason you chose to enroll with Incentive, and what your advice would be for anyone that was in your position.
Absolutely. Well, I think the key thing is, I've been corporate for most of my life. And the thing is, when you're corporate, you have a corporate identity. So everyone knows who you are when you're there. And you have a team of people around you who do the things you can't. When you set up your own business, you've got to rebrand yourself from scratch, because people who don't associate you in the same way. So you've then got to rebuild all your connections for you. And also, you don't have the teams of people who did all those things for you before. So now it's really trying to decide, how do you use your network? Who can help you? What can you do? And how can you build your exposure and your image in the best possible way? And that's why I joined Incentive so quickly, because it's just fantastic. We have a great network and wonderful opportunity to collaborate with other people who can help elevate us, particularly at the beginning of setting up a business.
So here's a question. If you hadn't chosen to join Incentive, where do you think you would be?
I think I would just be faffing around, especially with COVID on, because people, have been very cautious about spending, and, working remotely doesn't make it easy to be exposing who you are. Networking has been reduced, except for online, where it could be fantastic. But you have to know the right networks and the right places to go. And if you don't, I would probably be back at still faffing around. So, I have the whole time that we've been through the COVID experience, having had the fun of joining Incentive, I've had obviously the learning and then the networking, and the collaborations that I've built out of that have been fantastic for me in the last year. So really, I would advise anyone who's thinking about it to not wait and faff around on your own. You'll get there much quicker if you actually set a structure right at the beginning. And that's what Incentive has done for me.
And what advice would you give to someone that was actually starting their own business in terms of setting some kind of learning or marketing budget? Because obviously Incentive doesn't come for free. And at the same time, we acknowledge anyone that starts a business always has financial concerns. But what would your advice be with regards to that sort of consideration?
I'll be quite frank. I chose, when I started my own business, I chose not to put any investment into it. So I was really starting from base level, if you like. And I think, what? I don't think you need to spend a fortune on fancy, expensive marketing and all sorts. I think the first thing is really is to kind of build. You've got to build the relationships with everybody, and this was something that I'd always had done for me in another company, and I didn't know the best way to do it myself. But certainly, I think that yes, you have to have some investment because we have to pay for Incentive. But on the other hand, there's a lot of resources and things that you can learn within that, so that you don't have to be spending a fortune on things that are not within your control right at the beginning. And then as you build your business bit by bit, you can then make wise judgments as to how you want to invest and who with, and there's lots of opportunities, which obviously, Phil, you've presented and shared with us in the group.
And I think one of those opportunities is the fact you're just on the cusp of becoming an author as well, which I think is fantastic. So quickly, just tell us the name of your book.
Built to Last, full of metal. And so I'm not, when we talk about resilience, I'm going to be here a very, very long time.
and just tell us, you're obviously an expert in your niche, so if you'd like to just tell us quickly, just sort of 20 seconds or so, what you do, or so if someone needs to reach out to you, what that would be.
Yeah, I help people. Rather than studying what's missing and what's wrong with people, I actually look at what's right with them and help them build their strengths and leverage them for competitive advantage. And really, at times like this, when we're dealing with COVID, we really, really need the resilience. I'm a master in resilience. I'm a Gallup strengths coach, and that's the way I work with individuals and organizations.
Brilliant. Laura, thank you so much for your time. And we'll see you soon. Take it easy.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Bye.